Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Mishlove, and my topic today is A Complaint is a Gift. This happens to be the title of a best-selling business book authored by, of all people, my wife, Janelle Barlow. And incidentally, we'll be celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary this year. Now, Janelle is known internationally for her work in complaint handling and customer service. She's worked with many large, well-known corporations, and the interesting thing is there's always more to be done, because in business, for example, a lot of companies have the attitude that their goal is to reduce complaints so that nobody complains at all. And sometimes the way they do that is when complaints come along, they kind of hide them and they don't address them. But complaints in the world of business are one of the most valuable pieces of information that any business can have, because how else are they going to know how they're impacting the marketplace, what their customers think about them? Now, I can tell you this, there are lots of businesses these days who send out a little questionnaire after every single customer service interaction that you have with them. And I find it annoying. I find it too intrusive and overwhelming. Every time I turn around, it's like another questionnaire. I have to tell them whether I was satisfied or not. And yes, they're trying to get feedback, and that is a good thing, but maybe they go a little too far. The question is, how are they addressing the complaints that they get? Are they thankful when people complain? Do they make changes when people complain? Now, we have feedback here on this YouTube channel. There's a comment section, and every now and then I get complaints from people, and I can tell you I read them. I make a point of reading the comments, and occasionally I get complaints and I think to myself, that's a good idea. Somebody once suggested, for example, put the microphone on the right side of your jacket rather than the left side, because when you're talking to your guest in an interview format, you'll be speaking closer to the microphone. And so I changed where I put the microphone. And somebody recently posted a very interesting, and I think it was a constructive comment, that is, when you're in a conversation and you're listening to somebody and they're talking, you often say, little sounds to let them know that you're hearing them, that you're listening to them. But this person wrote and said, in an interview, television interview format, that's not professional. The viewer doesn't need to hear you say, and things like that. Just be silent or nod your head or something. It'll work better. And I thought to myself, who is this person? I've been doing interviews for nearly half a century, and I'm good at it, and I'm not about to change. And then I thought to myself, wait a second, I can learn. I can be better. Even if I'm in my 70s, there's room for improvement. Even if I've been doing this work for nearly 5 decades, there's room for improvement. And so I take many of the comments and complaints to heart and try to change when I can. It doesn't mean that you have to take everyone into consideration. Some people make comments and I think, they're off the wall. I'll tell you this, I do delete some comments if I think that they are being insulting or vulgar or demeaning to the guests or to the viewers or to certain groups of people. I will delete them. And there are occasions when I delete comments because I think they're just so off base. They have no room in the comments section, and I guess that's my prerogative. But I try to keep as many comments on the comment section as possible because they may be meaningful to other viewers, even if I don't really relate to the comment. And so for the most part, if you have a constructive comment and if you express it politely to people, it's likely to stay, even if I might personally disagree with you about it. And sometimes I'll even comment in response. But it's not always easy. Nobody really likes to hear complaints, even though I try to respond to them. There's some part of me that, a complaint is often uncomfortable. There's a moment of discomfort one goes through in taking in a complaint. Now, my wife, Janelle, points out that complaints are just as important in personal relationships as they are in business. And they're not always easy to take in a personal relationship. There are times when I might have a complaint for Janelle. And oftentimes, what happens when somebody complains to you, you throw it right back at them. And they say, you do this, you leave your underwear on the floor. So instead of saying, thank you, I'll try to do better, because you've given me a gift with your complaint, I might say, well, so do you. Look at that pile over there. You're no better than I am. That is not how to treat a gift, but it's only human. And there are times when I might want to criticize Janelle and she doesn't want to hear it, and I'll go, a complaint is a gift, remember? So we try to have fun with it. But it's a very serious business, really, if you can deal with complaints in your life, if you can endeavor to see that when people are complaining to you, and sometimes they're doing it in a nasty way. Not everybody knows how to give honest, helpful, constructive criticism that makes you feel good about receiving it, but still, maybe you could learn from it. So look at your life, and as I try to look at my life, and ask yourself, are you receiving complaints that you're not paying attention to? One of the things that Janelle teaches people in the world of business when they receive a complaint is to say, first of all, before anything else, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. If you didn't tell me this, I might not have known. So I really appreciate that you're taking the time and trouble to let me know. Because in truth, in business, I think it's like 7/8 of the people who feel dissatisfied will not complain. Most people don't. They don't want to bother, or they think that they'll be treated rudely if they complain, or even worse than being treated rudely, maybe the business will retaliate in some way. Like if you're at a restaurant and you don't like the food that's being served to you, if you complain about it, maybe they'll take it back into the kitchen and spit on it and then bring it back to you. People are literally concerned about that. So when somebody does take the initiative and complain, they're being brave in a certain way. They're risking that you might retaliate against them in some way. So it's good to thank people first and foremost when they complain. It's also good to see what can you do about it. Can you correct it? Now, I know when people leave complaints on the comments section of a videotape, they're not expecting an immediate response. In fact, maybe no response at all. But I am letting you know that I do read the complaints, and I am letting you know that any constructive complaint that I receive, I will endeavor to take to heart. And what I'm suggesting is that you, in your business life and in your personal life, do as much. I can tell you this, that businesses that work with Janelle's philosophy of a complaint is a gift often rise to the very top of their industry. It's one of the most successful strategies that a business can incorporate. And I think the same is true in your personal life. If you're able to hear what other people are trying to tell you, if you're able to respond to their feedback in a positive manner and endeavor to make changes when and where you can. You don't have to. You might just as well tell a person, thank you, I appreciate your feedback, but I really don't want to make that change, and I have my reasons. And you can explain it to them. And even in business, that's true. A business does not required to make changes every time a customer complains. They may have valid reasons for not wishing to do so, and fine. But most of the time, that is extremely useful feedback, both personally and in business. So let me leave you with this thought. How can you respond better to the complaints that you receive in your life? Thank you for being with me.